Surprise! It's not my normal posting day, but we're trying something new here on Dark Hearts. In my never-ending quest to break through the algo wall, I'm going to start bringing you some short episodes on Fridays, maybe sometimes on Mondays. We're going to play around with it a little bit. These are just going to be short stories or short news updates on what is happening in the true crime world right now. I'm still going to be bringing you your regular videos every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, but you're going to be getting some of these little shorts as well. We'll see how this goes. It's obviously more work, more time. So if it takes off, great. If it doesn't, we'll do away with it. Today, I have 5 breaking stories for you, March 28th, 2025. I'm your host, Stacy Lee. Let's begin. Authorities recently arrested a couple on suspicion of luring a teenager using an app, killing her, dismembering her body, and then placing her in a dumpster. According to the St. Petersburg Police Department, on March 6th, a witness reached out to law enforcement claiming they had information about a possible abduction and slaying of 16-year-old Miranda Corsetti. Further investigation revealed that Corsetti was coaxed through a social media app to meet 35-year-old Stephen Gress on February 14th. Corsetti reportedly went back to Gress's residence the following day. The victim's primary caregiver, her grandmother, reported Corsetti missing to the Gulfport police on February 24th. Police noted that Corsetti would frequently run away from home, but when she didn't return this time, according to the police, her grandmother knew something was wrong. They say a dispute occurred between February 20th and February 24th because Gress and his domestic partner, 37-year-old Michelle Brandis, couldn't find a piece of jewelry, so they had lured Miranda using an app. They were holding her prisoner, and then the two of them, Michelle and Gress, the couple, got into a fight, something to do with a piece of jewelry. They took this out on Miranda Corsetti. She was beaten, tortured, and eventually killed as a result. Brandis and Gress put her body in a car and drove it to their house in Largo, and that's where they dismembered her. Authorities believe Gress and Brandis put Miranda's remains in a dumpster. Detectives are working to recover all of the victim's body parts. Gress was arrested on March 5th for allegedly pointing a harpoon at his domestic partner. I mean, yeah, this is definitely a Florida story. And of course, he also was in possession of drugs. He remains held in the Pinellas County Jail and faces multiple charges, including first-degree murder and kidnapping. On March 8th, Brandis turned herself into the police as well. She also remains in custody, and she faces a charge of first-degree murder. This is a horrifying story, and I just want to remind everyone watching this again, watch your kids on social media, please, please, please. And I want to send a lot of love to the people that love Miranda. We are sorry for your loss, and we hope that these killers get the justice that they deserve. Remember the story of the men who froze to death outside their friend's home after watching the Super Bowl last year? Police and prosecutors announced charges against 2 men they allege supplied drugs to the 3 friends who died after watching a Kansas City Chiefs NFL game last year. The Platte County Prosecuting Attorney's Office and Kansas City Police Department announced in a joint statement that Jordan Willis and Ivory Carson were arrested and charged with distribution of a controlled substance and 3 counts of involuntary manslaughter in connection with the deaths of Clayton McGreeny, David Harrington, and Ricky Johnson. Each charge carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Harrington, McGeaney, and Johnson went to Willis's home on the night of January 7th, 2024, after the Chiefs game. McGeaney's fiancée became concerned after she couldn't reach him, so she checked on him at Willis's residence and found at least 1 person dead on the back patio. Of course, then the other 2 were located as well. The temperature in Kansas City reached below freezing that night. According to the statement, investigators searched Willis's residence and located 2 bags containing white powdery substances. 1 bag tested positive for cocaine and the other for fentanyl. Willis, the homeowner's DNA, was found on one of the bags. Carson's DNA was found on the bag of One friend told police that they went to Harrington's house prior to Willis's, and while the men were there, they saw a large plate of snow allegedly supplied by Willis. So they were kind of going from house to house partying and getting drunker and more high as the night went on. The autopsies showed that Johnson, McGeaney, and Harrington all died from cocaine and fentanyl toxicity. It wasn't the cold that killed them, it was the drugs. The prosecutor said, "This case is a tragic reminder of the dangers of street drugs, but make no mistake, the people who supply those drugs can and will be held accountable when people overdose." A woman has been taken into custody because the remains of her boyfriend were found mummified in a Sacramento home. According to the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, in January of 2024, officials received a report that 47-year-old Matthew Clark disappeared following an argument he had with his live-in girlfriend, 38-year-old Sophia Furman. Clark's brother told the sheriff's office that Furman had recently sold Clark's vehicle and other property, and Furman possibly had something to do with the disappearance. Several months later, in June of 2024, the San Joaquin Sheriff's Office located Clark's truck in their jurisdiction. Sacramento County Sheriff's Office detectives recovered the vehicle and found 42-year-old Jerry Mulford's fingerprints inside. He's the accomplice. Investigators interviewed Furman, who was in custody for an unrelated crime, and she reportedly claimed she did not know where Clark was. Furman allegedly told officials she believed Clark was likely in a rehab facility within the state. According to the sheriff's office, further investigation revealed that in December of 2023, Furman shot Clark after an argument, and his body was buried on U Street in Rio Linda. So this man's been missing for a lot longer than she said in the beginning. In December of 2024, the sheriff's office and FBI evidence response team executed a search warrant on the property and found Clark's mummified remains in a shallow grave. A forensic pathologist determined that Clark sustained at least 5 gunshot wounds, and his death was ruled a homicide. The sheriff's office obtained an arrest warrant for Furman on a charge of murder and accessory after the fact for Mulford. Deputies arrested Furman at her home in Sacramento on December 23, 2024, and she remains held without bail. She is scheduled to appear in court a few days after you will see this episode. So I will bring you a short or something to let you know what happens there. Mulford has not yet been found, and investigators believe he might have fled the state. A man named Ty Vaughn was arrested on March 7th on a murder charge related to the death of his fiancé, Louis Banos, who was killed on January 14th. Ty is accused of murdering his fiancé and staging the scene to look like a suicide. 31-year-old Ty Vaughn was arrested and charged with Louis Banos' murder. On January 14th, police officers responded to an apartment complex in Baytown after a 911 call, later identified as being Ty Vaughn, stating he had found his fiancée dead from a gunshot wound. Inside, police found Banos dead with an apparent gunshot wound, and they detained Vaughn for questioning. Throughout the investigation, Ty Vaughn provided inconsistent statements, and the detectives later determined that he was the killer. Ty Vaughn appeared in court on Monday, March 10th. His bond was set at $500,000. It is unclear if he has entered a plea, but he will continue to be held. Part of this case that I find very disturbing is that Ty Vaughn did a Google search where he typed in, "Is it legal to kill an illegal immigrant?" He searched for things like consequences for killing an illegal immigrant. He also searched, "Can I kill an illegal human?" The fact that people are even searching things like that, for anyone out there listening to this, it is really sad that I have to say this. You cannot shoot anyone based on their immigration status. Dear Lord, those are words I never thought would come out of my mouth. Jurors could not agree on the actions of a California judge who was on trial on accusations he murdered his wife. A mistrial was declared on March 10th. The jurors on this case deliberated for 8 days, and they were split 11-1, with just one juror believing that Jeffrey Ferguson was not guilty. Jeffrey Ferguson, 74, is accused of killing his 65-year-old wife, Cheryl Ferguson, at their Anaheim Hills home on the night of August 3rd, 2023. The two had been arguing on the day of her death, and Ferguson claims that his wife had consumed a lot of alcoholic beverages. It is said that this judge had made a gun gesture at his wife earlier in the evening at their dinner at a Mexican restaurant, but the judge is claiming that the shooting was an accident. Jeffrey Ferguson has admitted that he was holding the gun, but he's saying it went off by mistake as he was pulling his gun out of an ankle holster and moving it to the coffee table. He claims that a prior shoulder injury flared up and caused him to accidentally fire the gun. Yep, and that track runner accidentally hit that girl on the head with a baton. The judge claims that his arm flailed and the gun went off, and he went to try to grab the gun, but he dropped it and then it fired. Prosecutors claim that Ferguson purposefully killed his wife in a fit of rage fueled by alcohol and a previous argument. The prosecutor says he took the gun out, he pointed it at her, and he killed her, but the jury could not decide. The judge is now facing a retrial, and I will bring you up to date when I know more. Let me know how you feel about these little shorts. I'm going to try it for a few weeks and we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching. I sure appreciate each and every one of you. Stay safe, my friends, and be kind to each other. And I will see you next time on Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. Bye.